Otherworldlyculture.com presents the Women in Horror panel, featuring icons Barbara Crampton, Darcy the Mail Girl, Lisa Schrage, and Tiffany Shepis. Moderated by Tim Kretschmann and recorded at the Horror Realm 2025 convention in Pittsburgh.
Oh, can I ask Vic a question? Okay, Vic, where are you from?
Detroit, Pennsylvania.
Anyone else from Detroit, Pennsylvania?
No, but there's a hot dog shop there.
Really? Wow. What kind
He's
of
eating a
one?
lot of them, I said.
Chili cheese hot dog. Who do you think here came from the furthest? If you think you came the furthest way.
The killer smells from outer space.
Toledo.
Toledo? Anyone beat Toledo?
Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
Okay.
Oh, don't be shy. If you're further than Milwaukee, you get a prize from Barbara Crampton's table. Nobody?
What about the closest?
Closest?
Yeah, like 2 blocks away. Yeah.
Did you walk?
I can.
But who came solo? Raise your hand. Okay, we're gonna do speed dating with you guys. You get what you get and you don't feel shit, okay? You're gonna have to roll with it. So you and Vic will all get together in a little pool. Yeah, in the pool. What else? What else can we do? What else? Who's had a drink today? Who's been drinking? England. Is that how you say it? England, right? Or is it England? That's I like it. Okay. Well, fuck. That's all I got.
Let's hear it for Tiffany. Let's bring them all up. Darcy the Mail Girl, Lisa Schrage, and the one and only Tiffany Shepis. So those of you that thought Tiffany was going to take over the panel even before the panel started,
No,
you won the pool.
That was all I had in me. That was it. That was the end.
Well, thank you all for coming. I must be living life right.
Yeah.
This is great. Thank you all for coming. I'm going to start with kind of a toss-up question. You're all fans of movies. We all love movie quotes. Do you have a favorite movie quote? And does it come from one of your movies?
What? Oh, I know. This isn't a dream. This is really happening. What movie is that from? Yeah. Ooh, that was pretty good. All right, how many kids are in here? When you're in here, close your ears because I don't want you to hear say, your mother blood in hell. That was the PG version. You guys you perverts can use the rest of your minds for that. From what movie? The Exorcist. Thank you.
It's not who you come with, it's who takes you home.
Oh, she said that yesterday. What's that one from? What was that one from?
It's from Prom Night II.
Oh, hell yeah, she picked her own movie.
Yeah, as you should, yes. That was I remember.
Mine is movies don't create psychos. Movies make psychos more creative. Amen.
Well, yeah, that does deserve applause, I think. Look at this room full of psychos. Oh, man.
So, just a quick poll. Do we prefer the term final girl or scream queen? You know, what do you think?
Has anyone read my columns and things I've written? Oh, I don't know. Wait a second. Famously said that I have not been a fan of the term scream queen, and I wrote an article about it. Did anybody read it? Raise their hands. Yeah. And okay, not very many of you. You have some homework to do. I only said that because I just felt like there's no equivalent for a guy, and a scream queen can sometimes to me seem like a cheesy term for a woman that is confident and victorious and fighting back against evil. And I felt like the term was just a little bit reductive. And I know that it's said with admiration, but I just would prefer to be called a final girl than a scream queen.
Oh, a final girl.
Yeah.
I like that.
I think they're two different things. But I think
so too.
I love the Scream Queen title. I embraced it the second I was coined it by Jules Shepard, Return of the Living Dead fame, and thought it was just super cool. But the other day you posted something about Scream Queens from the Oscars, and you were like, "Oh, how cool!"
No, it wasn't the Oscars. It was the SAG Awards.
Oh,
and
no.
they introduced Jamie Lee Curtis, and she was going to introduce the winner of Best Actor, I think. And so they did a whole little sort of compilation of different ladies
cool.
of horror. And I was watching the SAG Awards with some of my friends, and so we're sitting there, and all of a sudden all these actresses pop up, and my friend said, "Hey, where are you? You should be in that." And I was like, "Yeah." And then all of a sudden there I was. And I thought, oh, that's nice. And they called me a scream queen along with Jamie Lee Curtis, so I said, okay, I'm in good company, so I guess that's all right.
I'm not going to get into this on the panel, Barbara.
We can talk later, Tiffany.
No, but I don't know. I've always thought it was a cool term. I thought it was fun. I was such a big fan of 80s horror movies. I thought scream queens were, yes, sometimes I feel I get what you're saying, like on the reductive side of it, because I think actresses that were coined scream queens were also great actors and didn't care that they got naked or tripped and fell often and got killed first. But I was just such a fan of the genre that it didn't really matter as long as you were showing up and watching these movies, that I was like, call me whatever the fuck you want.
I'm just digging deep because, I have a column in Fangoria and I got to talk about something. So why not be that?
So why don't we go down the line? What is your favorite horror film? Darcy, do you want to start?
Shockingly, it's Scream.
I go back and forth sometimes. My two favorites, because it's really hard to pick, are The Shining and the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the original. Just really love those. But every once in a while, like, a movie comes out that I think is different or original, and I think, oh, that's my favorite one for a while. And one of those was maybe not a well-seen movie, but it's called Cold Fish. Has anybody seen Cold Fish? Okay, you got some more fucking homework to do, so go watch Cold Fish. No, it's an older movie, but not too, I'd say it's like 10 or 12 years old. Bloody Disgusting put it out many years ago, so I would recommend that movie. And also there's a really good movie out there called Jacob's Wife. Has anybody seen that? That's another favorite of mine. What?
CM Punk.
Yeah, and CM Punk! How about that? Woo-hoo. Yeah, nice. Anyway.
I like Rosemary's Baby because it's
Good.
I like that one too.
I like Ruth Gordon.
Yes.
I don't know if anybody remembers Ruth Gordon.
Yeah, she's
I wanted to grow up and
amazing.
be Ruth Gordon.
Yeah.
She's awesome.
I've often said I want to be the Betty White of horror so that I can stay in it for a long time and have grandmother roles soon. Not yet, but someday.
The original Nightmare on Elm Street still scares me to this day. No one can top Tina in the body bag. Terrifying, horrifying. Running upstairs in my house still, if I'm alone, I think it's going to be quicksand, and I'm horrified. For more modern stuff, I mean, it's not even modern really anymore because it was many years ago, but The Witch, it's terrifying, creepy. Black Phillip. Don't fuck around with farm animals, man.
Yeah, don't.
Yeah, just don't do it.
Don't do that.
Don't do it. But
No.
if we're talking like Rosemary's Baby vein of things, we have a thing in our family. If we're all home at the same time, Friday night is movie night, and we all get to pick each week, like it rotates. And I picked Whatever Happened to Baby Jane, which oddly neither my husband or son gave one flying F about, and I was kind of
I
shocked.
wonder why. Well, it's a woman's movie.
So good though. It's
so good.
Creepy.
Come on.
But then when you do go back and rewatch it, if you guys haven't watched it recently, go back because you're kind of like, bitch, just like yell out the window. Like, you'd be saved. We just like tried with like a paper airplane and that was it.
But do you think it's because it is a woman's movie? Like, I would want to ask the guys here who likes that movie, Whatever Happened to Baby Jane. Okay, and then put your hands on what guys have never seen it or could care two shits about it. Okay. Okay, we got a few more.
One jerk off in the back.
Yeah. But sometimes it is about the subject matter and what you relate to. Like for the Oscars this year, I don't know how many of you, it's happening on Sunday night, have watched all the Oscar movies, but there's a few that I really liked, and there's one that's so well acted, Conclave. Did anybody see that? Okay, the subject matter didn't interest me, because it's about picking a new pope, which they might be doing, because our current pope is not feeling well.
He's not dead yet, though.
No, but it was so well acted, but I was like, just doesn't interest me. So some of it's that.
Yeah, it could just be. This isn't a Baby Jane panel, but I think you guys should watch it.
Have you ever watched the remake of that?
I didn't watch it.
It's interesting to see somebody that's not Betty White.
Betty Davis.
Yeah, or
Betty White. Speaking of Betty White.
Yeah. Stuck on Betty
That would
White.
actually be a way funny movie.
That actually would.
Betty White is Baby Jane. Yeah.
Sort of cast against type.
Mm-hmm.
So, horror is such a huge part of studios' offerings in 2025. Universal alone has nearly a half dozen releases next year. What do you owe to the resurgence of horror films that we've seen in the last, I would say, 5 years? You've seen a huge increase. Is there something in the air? What do you think is bringing that about?
Internet people, YouTube shows that like James A. Janice, like people like that.
Like you.
Joe Bob show. Like
Responsible.
No, I do. I think
I also think that it's been said that people make more decisions based on fear than they do on love. If you think about that, like in your own life, something that I'm afraid of, I don't want to take a chance because I have fear. And I think we live in a really more fearful world than we ever have before. And I think that's when horror movies gain a lot of traction. And so I think we're kind of on the upswing right now.
Do you think streaming has anything to do with it? Because it seems like streaming is the new VHS, where there's so much product that's being put out strictly for streaming, or do you think that's just...
Darcy, what do you think about that?
Yeah.
Darcy.
Sure. I don't have no strong opinion. I guess it's a fair comparison because you used to find a bunch of random movies, Prom Night II, by browsing the video stores and looking at the cover art, and you kind of do that now where you're like scrolling through Tubi and like, oh, that looks interesting. So, kind of. There's a lot of options at your fingertips at all times. So.
Maybe.
Speaking of Prom Night II, I've had a number of people that want me to ask you, is that a slasher movie, a ghost story, or a possession?
I like that question. I don't like that term slasher for that movie because she wasn't a slasher. How did she slash anybody? She used her charm. Right? Things just happened.
That's hilarious.
That's great. Can you tell us a little bit about working with James Gunn?
Me?
Yeah.
Oh. Well, come on, moderator. Ask the people.
I'm like, who's James
Anyone
Gunn?
else here could have done it. Working with, I was a kid. I was young. I was very young. Everybody on that set was really young. And we're talking about a movie called Tromeo and Juliet. It was my first movie. I played Peter, the bodyguard to the Capulet family. Peter, because I think Lloyd was too cheap to go back and reprint all the scripts with a different name. And I got to famously fight a lot of people in that. Most well-known, poor Stevie Blackheart, because there was a very terrible accident where I got to kick him in the face, and I kicked him in the face for real. And it was awful, and I felt terrible, and I kept thinking, oh my gosh, like I already lied to get into this movie because I think I went to the audition, said I was 19, and then I called because I got really scared, like, oh my gosh, like, this is my big break, and they're gonna find out that I lied. So I called back and I lied again, and said I was 17.
How old were you? Really?
15.
Oh my God.
And made this wacky, modern tale of Romeo and Juliet, and it was an awesome experience. And everyone that came out of that was really cool, or doing something really cool, and all just lovers of indie film, And that was right after doing Tromeo and Juliet was my first convention ever, which was a Fangoria convention. And because I was a fan growing up, which it could be why I have such a soft spot for the term Scream Queen, because I was such a fan. Like, I was such a fan of people like Linnea Quigley and Michelle Bauer and Brink Stevens. And I was like, these chicks are badass. Like, they fight people, they kill demons, and they're sexy. So it's like you could do it all. So for me as a little kid, like almost like a little feminist, I was like, fuck yeah, we could do anything.
So Jacob's wife, a lot of people want me to ask you about that. You're creating your own material now. Did you pick a vampire film for Jacob's wife because you think it's time for vampires to shed the twilight, or do you feel like it's a classic? What drew you to Jacob's wife?
That script came to me because it won a screenwriting contest at Screamfest, I think, in LA. And the head of Screamfest said, I think this would be a good vehicle for Barbara Crampton. So the writer reached out to me and I read it. And how many have seen that movie? A bunch. Yeah, thanks. So that film is about a long-term marriage and what happens when someone changes. How does that affect the relationship? And can you stay together? I mean, we all know, we've all been in relationships. You have to keep putting the work in to stay with your partner. And so the story is told through the lens of a woman who gets bitten by a vampire, and then she had been under the thumb of her husband her whole marriage and life with him, and then she gets bitten by a vampire, and she has a new life. She has new blood pulsing through her veins, and she feels more self-actualized as a person, and she starts changing, and the relationship changes. And so the movie is the eternal question of how to stay with your partner. How do you do that? And I've been married now for 23 years, and when I got the script for that movie, it was around the time that I had come back to acting. I sort of had left the business, and I was raising my kids in Northern California, and my husband was working, and I had 2 babies, and I had done that movie You're Next, and that kind of brought me back, and then I had gotten a few more jobs, and I thought, my husband was fighting with me a little bit about it, like, well, what are you doing? Where are you going? Who's going to watch the kids? And I'm like, I don't know. I've got to go do this movie. And so the script really related and resonated with me. And also Larry Fessenden stars opposite me, and I've known him for a long time, and he had the same issues in his long-term marriage. And so, we just both felt attracted to the material and wanted to do it. So it's more like, I like horror movies that when you take the horror away, there's a strong narrative there, and there's a story that you can appreciate without any horror elements. And I think that movie has that. And I honestly have said to people all weekend, if you've come up to my table, From Beyond and Jacob's Wife were my 2 proudest moments on film, and I really love that movie. So I don't know. I also wanted to play a classic character. We've all been the final girl or whatever, and you're a big champion of all of us, and I appreciate you and all of that. But I mean, I want to play the killer. I want to play the bad character sometimes. And she wasn't really a killer or a bad character. Well, she did kill some people, but she kind of had to. She was thirsty. Anyway, so to answer your question, there's a lot of reasons why I wanted to do that film. And I'm really glad I did. It takes a long time to make a movie. I've been producing now for a few years. It took me, I'd say, 3 years to get a production company to say they wanted to make this movie. I also asked probably 10 different women if they wanted to direct it, and they all turned me down. And I don't know why. Maybe it was because it was about an older couple or something. But then I had worked with Travis Stevens on We Are Still Here. He was a producer on that movie, and he had just started to direct, and he directed a movie with CM Punk. What was it called? Girl on the Fourth Floor? No, what was it?
Something like that. Something about the floor.
Yeah.
Girl on the floor.
Girl on the Fourth Floor. I forget what it was called. Anybody know?
That sounds-
Shout it out if you know.
I know what you're talking about.
Anyway. Huh?
Third floor.
The girl on the third floor or the guy on the third floor? He was on a floor. Why was he on a floor? I have no
Turn the
idea.
lights down and I'll watch it.
I know.
Anyway, girl on the third floor.
Then,
There you go.
yeah. So then I talked to Travis, and he said, well, I want to read what script you have that you love, and let me read it. So he read it, and he's like, Barbara, I want this to be my next movie. I love this film so much. You have to let me do it. And I just almost started crying because I was like, yes. So once I had a director on board and we had some rewrites and everything, we found the money and we were able to make it. And 4 years later, it came out into the world. And I was like, I'm so tired, but I really like this movie.
All right. Darcy, tell us a little bit about how you got involved in The Last Drive-In with Joe Bob Briggs. Was it all at once? Did you slowly get involved? How did
Oh
that
Lord,
happen?
that's a long story.
Well, that's okay. I just told a long story.
It's like you're better at it though.
That's not true.
Yeah, it's true. That's fine. I was a big fan of Joe Bob growing up. I missed his show being on. I tracked down what he was currently doing, which he had literally at that time just written a rocket science book. And he had give me a presentation for CIA people, like he was doing some crazy shit. And but I went to him as a fan. I didn't realize he was doing this serious science guy stuff anymore. And I dressed up as a mail girl because I thought it was a Joe Bob thing. And I walked in late because I also didn't know he was doing a speech. I thought it was just show up whenever you want. And it was a little he noticed me. Let's be real. I felt very awkward, and I kind of got forced to go up afterwards. I was just gonna leave and be like, I'm sorry, I'm just gonna go. But people forced me. They're like, you're clearly a fan. You need to talk to him on site. I did, and I said, one, I'm sorry for showing up like this, but we really need you back. Where are you? And he was like, the world doesn't need me anymore. With Google, there's no place for me. And so we kind of became online friends from that point on, and I spent 2 years convincing him you need to be
It was
doing
your
content.
idea. You brought it back. Let's just say it.
Well, at the same time, the person who became our producer was trying to get stuff done with Shutter and stuff. So eventually it connected Joe Bob with Matt, and then Joe Bob with to me saying do this, do this, do this. And so when they finally said, will you have a meeting with Shutter? He was like, should I do this? I'm like, fuck yes, finally do it. So the original person at Shutter was a fan, and so they greenlit this weird
Yeah, who was that? Who was the original person?
Owen.
Oh yeah,
He's
Owen.
not there
Yeah,
anymore.
right.
Was there ever a worry that Shutter wasn't going to let you play the mail girl?
So it wasn't that. We were not going to have a show. So Owen was the fan, but then other people came in and took over and did not want Joe Bob. They actually put out
A casting?
polls and stuff saying, is Joe Bob relevant in this day and age? His sexism, their Shutter's a little woke. And they did not like having what they thought was redneck sexist persona. They thought that was going to be terrible for him. So they took away our funding. They're like, you have no show, you have nothing. And the people that worked on the marathon all did it for free. Because we're still going to make a show for you, even if we have nowhere to put it. So
But how did you finance the first thing? Did Owens?
this was the first thing. They took the money away.
Oh, they took the money.
They gave us money and said, do the
Oh.
show. And then they said,
I
never
didn't know
mind,
that.
we don't want you anymore.
Wow.
So actually, Owen found us 10 grand. And that's it. And that's what we had, 10 grand. Do whatever you can do. It's going to be a one-time thing if we decide to show it. It's okay, you know what? Joe Bob gets his goodbye special. If it doesn't show up on Shudder, we'll put it on YouTube. We'll put it wherever. And then people tuned in and broke the internet. And I was so excited because we did not know. They were dicks. No offense, but Shudder was no one's gonna watch this. I don't get this show. What's the point of this? And then they called in the middle of it, pretty much as soon as the servers broke and stuff, said, hey, we should have a talk on Monday. I'm like, what? And so now here we are 7 years later.
That's what they say. Nobody knows anything, right?
Yeah. And mine just started, Joe Bob never even questioned it. Because a lot of people don't realize that I actually write, produce, do costumes, do everything behind the scenes. So there was never anyone that was going to come in and replace that, because I'm not like the typical, like the old male girls were just models that came in, said what Joe Bob wanted them to say, and this is me. And it started off kind of rough because we didn't know our footing. It's like I was doing all this behind the scenes stuff, but he wanted me to act a certain way on camera, and I was really camera shy and scared of Joe Bob, honestly, because like in real life he's like kind of shy and chill, but when he came on the air and he's like, I'm Joe Bob, I'm like, I don't even know who I'm talking to. But now as we've done it, and he lets me drink a little on the show, let's be real, I've gotten more comfortable, so now it's like, it's all falling
That's
into place.
incredible.
So,
Yeah.
But I mean, that's why I asked that question though, if there was a thought to being replaced, because like, I know I've made many a pilots that I'm not in, right?
Joe
Like,
Bob is like insanely loyal. Like they go in to
That's
replace the
great.
production people. As far as I know, they never said anything about me, but who knows? But like he would not ever. He stood up for the production people because they had never done anything. They came from Troma,
Yeah.
and they're like we want to replace.
Yeah,
them.
that's
They
Matt and
said-
Justin, right? Yeah.
So they said no, like none of this would have happened if the crew worked for free. Austin, the director, everybody, they're like everybody worked for free, and now that we're getting paid, they need to be brought on.
Yeah.
So we're all.
That's a nice story.
It's a great
That's
story.
a good story.
Thank you.
Thank you for sharing that. I don't feel like that's been shared enough, so thank you for sharing that with
My
us.
pleasure.
Lisa, let's talk about Food of the Gods too.
Yeah, okay.
What?
Go ahead.
Well, let's
Go
throw it
ahead.
out.
I only laughed not because of the movie, but because of her reaction to seeing the Laserdisc yesterday.
It's on Laserdisc?
Every so often somebody
Wow.
somebody shows up with something.
I wonder if it's cropped differently so you don't get the boom mics in the shot.
Is that what
You
you saw?
do
You saw that?
The
It wasn't the best movie.
yeah. There's
Like, did anybody see it?
the
No.
there's
One
people,
person.
come on,
Yeah,
no?
three.
Food,
Right.
Food of Gods 2, it's a classic.
2.
Yeah.
What happened to 1? It's a
I-
classic.
It's a classic,
Okay.
and there is about 5 scenes with boom mics, and you do see some special effects behind the scenes. But you have a scene at the end with a dying giant rat. How was that done? Was that for his
Honestly, I have to tell you,
perspective?
I have no memory of it.
No memory.
It's
Plead
blanked
the
out
fifth.
of my memory.
Is
Yeah.
there a movie that, besides Prom Night, which so many people are just so excited about, that you think, like, oh man, I wish more people watch that, or I'm so happy everybody knows me for this particular role? Because it's obviously not Fear of
No,
the
thank you.
Gods.
She's trying to make up for you.
It's a great movie.
I guess it's so cheesy that thing. That's why you like it, right? That,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Super cheese.
you don't go
Rat's
into it
cheese,
thinking
right?
this is it's giant.
Yeah.
rats.
Yeah. Okay. I gotta. This is my birthday tomorrow, and
Happy birthday!
So it's probably like 40 years since I did that movie. I'm still recovering. The next time I see you, I may be able to talk about that. But yeah, there were other things that I did that I liked. Just sometimes you end up saying yes to something you don't like, and for the wrong reasons, and then you're in it. Right? I'm sure some people, I'm not just talking about movies, right? Choices you made in your life, and you're like, I wish I had not made that choice, right? But you got to go through with it. You sign the contract. You got to go through with it anyway, whether you beg the director to fire you. So please get me out of here, because it was like underground with sewers underground. Anyway, enough about that movie. There were more pleasant experiences than that. I really, how I said I like Ruth Gordon?
Yeah.
I was a huge fan of a movie. It's not a horror movie, sorry. It's Harold and Maude.
Harold and
And I
Maude.
love that movie so much. And I just love Ruth Gordon. And I didn't get to work with her, but I got to work with Bud Cort, who played Harold.
wow.
Because these are people who, did you know the movie?
Oh, yeah.
They follow, funerals. They meet at a funeral. And I don't know, there's something really, beautiful about funerals, and I know it sounds weird. I read obituaries every day. I just like that. Anyway, that energy of that movie. So, I know it's weird. I worked with Bud Cort later on a show, on a Twilight Zone episode. Somebody brought me something to sign. I don't know if that person's here. The Twilight Zone with Bud Cort. And thanks for asking. But that was a big thing for me, when you meet somebody that you've always admired. So, yeah, and I like that character a lot. And she had great lines. I was trying to think, because yesterday we were talking about that. That also was really well written. I don't know if you ever see the Twilight Zone. It came back many times, right? It's probably still on, as far as I know. This is I don't know what generation. This is 80s, right?
Were you a fan of horror films, or were you just like, I'm an actor and this is what was brought to you?
I've actually never seen a horror film besides mine.
That's kind of fucking awesome.
I can't sleep at night. I'm really sensitive. I couldn't go down those sewers because I'm just not, And I didn't die in my horror film. I never even thought about, right? I just thought about having fun, right? With what's happening, come back, like revengeful. That's fun to play. Who doesn't want to play revengeful, right?
Yeah.
And then it was comic and spoofy and tongue-in-cheek and all that, which I love all that. So if you get to be sassy and get people to disappear just because you're being sassy, I think that's a lot of fun. So
you basically got the role that Barbara was talking about getting.
Yeah,
getting to be the badass.
Yeah, you get to be the badass. You get to, I guess they made all the sequels, right? Because she lived. They didn't invite me to that party. But I'm still the only one here, aren't I?
I got a question,
Yes, sir.
Darcy.
For Darcy, yeah.
I got a question there.
Who's talking?
On the guest there from the last season of your last drive-in, what was it like meeting the other male girl from Monster Vision and the hostess of USA Up All Night?
Well, Honey I'd known for a long time, so it was fine. But Rhonda was amazing. Rhonda, I loved at the same time as Joe Bob. I watched both of them at the same time. So to have her come on, I was so scared to be on set, and I was just I'm gonna do my job. It's gonna be fun. But she was just so welcoming and inviting and just kind, and she was just so great. And she's trying to bring Up All Night back. So I told her, hey, if you need help with that, let me know. So maybe we'll be seeing her again too.
That'd be incredible if they
Right?
brought her back.
Yeah.
She was so good, and she was
She's
so funny,
still
and
so good.
Before her time, I think, because she really got Cassandra Peterson got it too,
Yes.
but such a character playing something that she knew was so off the wall and ridiculous. But if you talk to either of those women, they're so smart and cool.
They
and
play you think they're the bimbo, but they're really smart, and
Yeah.
I love that.
It's great.
Yeah, she's great.
We are on very short time because some photo ops are coming up, so I do want to make sure I ask each of you, what have you got upcoming projects that you're working on? We'll start with you, Tiffany, and go down.
We're working on an animated project called Rocket Girl. It's very Robot Chicken-esque stuff, which anybody that knows me has heard some of my Robot Chicken stuff, which is always a lot of fun. Really, I love doing voiceover work. Although I don't know if I'm really any good at it, but I like it when they give it to me. So we have that coming up, and working on, we still are doing our Casualty Friday podcast, just not as often, just because of everybody's schedules. And so I have a new podcast that I'm doing by myself, which I'll announce probably next week when we're not here.
Well, we're all here now.
No, because you know what? Because last night after I had a drink with Barbara, I thought I might change the title. I don't know why. Maybe I'm gonna change the title. So why bother with it now? So we have that, and I am we just started writing a film with my husband. So that's really cool, and it will be 2 female leads in it. I don't know, maybe one will be me, maybe it won't, but it's very contained, very creepy, very fucked up, horror, sci-fi kind of deal. So, got that.
I don't work in the business anymore. I passed the torch on to my sons. I have 2 very handsome sons, and one of them is doing quite well. So look up Max Montesi. He's doing a lot of work. He was in The Last of Us, and anyway, so I don't do it, but.
And you do yoga, right? No?
I'm a yoga teacher.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
honest with you.
Maybe we could have a class in the morning.
Good. I could just get up and move, okay?
I did a movie recently called Subscriber with Bill Moseley and Thomas Lennon. And so that will be coming out soon. The director is Zalman Band. And if the last name sounds familiar, it's the son of Charles Band, and it's his directorial debut. So I know, isn't that cool? I love that.
Wait,
So,
do you have another son?
yeah, but he died.
No, Alex.
And Alex. He has Alex too.
I didn't know there was another.
Oh, Zalman, yeah.
Yeah.
Alex is in that movie, what's it called?
No, he was in a band called The Calling.
The Calling. I was gonna say The Counting, and I was like, no, that's not right, The Calling. Yeah. Yeah, he's great, yeah.
They had one like really big hit song, The Calling.
Yeah.
You guys remember? Like early 2000s?
If I could.
Yes! That one.
A very moody, much moodier voice.
And then I did another movie called The Possession at Gladstone Manor. And I play a mom that the kids have to go rescue, and there's some sci-fi elements and that. And then what else? Oh, I have a movie on Shudder now called Little Bites.
Oh, yeah.
That just debuted, and Chrissy Fox is the star of the movie, and she's one of my best friends, and I play a supporting role in it, and she is so good in it. It's amazing. She's fantastic. It's directed by Spider One, who's Rob Zombie's brother, and Spider One is also in a band. I don't know, I'm surrounded by all these band people lately. Spider has a, what?
Power Man 5000 is the name.
Yes, it's called Power Man 5000. That's his band, and he's also a director, just like Rob Zombie. It's like the younger brother following in the same footsteps. And then a couple of other little things here and there, so that's it.
All right. So mostly for me, it would be The Last Drive-In. Starts up again next Friday. We're back with double features monthly, so that we can still be on the whole year. And if you want to, I have a wrestling pod. It's AEW specific. We recap every Dynamite, every Collision. The Awesome Pod. That's my pet project, so check it out. You're into
What's it called?
The Awesome Pod, but it's spelled dyslexic, like AEW. Some pod.
So it only covers that.
AEW. Yes, it does.
Come on. I was on WOW. Did you know that?
No, but do you want to come on the Awesome Pod and talk about it? Like,
I will 100% talk about it.
oh my god, amazing.
Guys, I was a wrestler, but I quit.
You were a wrestler?
I was a wrestler.
I know, tell us the story.
I quit the night. I'll tell you the story really quick. So, you guys know the TV show Glow? Yeah. If you ever watch the first episode, that's really how they cast for Glow after the 80s when they came back in the early 2000s. They had a giant casting call. It was like, are you a stunt person? Are you an actor? Are you good on the mic? Whatever, right? I went to this giant audition because somebody was like, oh yeah, you kind of host stuff. You know, I was hosting things at the time at a TV show in the UK. And so I went because I loved wrestling, but I loved like early like WW when it was WWF. And so I went, get in there, get the part. I'm playing Madison, the New York rich bitch, which is basically the female Ted DiBiase, $1 Million Man.
This is amazing.
So we get trained by the fabulous Moolah and like the Ugandan Giant. Like these are like old timey 80s wrestlers that are badasses. Came and trained us for 6 months. We practiced at the Forum in LA. Some of these girls were really fucking good. I was actually kind of terrified at times, and some were not very good. I was terrified more of the ones that were not very good because they'd almost break your face every time you fight. So long story short of it, we're practicing, we're gearing up for our pay-per-view event, which was gonna be on UPN. It was a live show. And all the way in the months leading up to it, we were promised insurance. And waiting for it, and every week would come and go, and no insurance would come, and we finally got to the day before, and I was like, where's our insurance? And talking to all the girls, I'm like, look, we have a show tomorrow night. There's 50 of us. If we tell them we're all walking, we will get insurance. If we don't, we're fucked. And they're like, yeah, rah, rah. I was like, I'll talk for everybody. And I was like, yeah. And it's like my total Jerry Maguire moment. And I was like, Dave McClane's going to come in here. I'm going to tell him what's up. And we're going to get insurance. This is going to be fucking great because then we're going to have the best show ever. And we're going to be protected. And they're all like, ah, rah, rah. And fucking dude walks in, and I'm like, so here's what we need. And he's like, well, you're not getting that. And I was like, let's go, bitches. And all of them sat down, and I stood up. And I looked around, and I think like one girl kind of meekly was like, I'll go with you. And I was like, that doesn't work. But because of my bad attitude, I was like, well, thanks for the free haircut. Fuck off. But listen, the story gets weird. I go to my car and I cried. I was like, oh man, I just lost my wrestling career. And that was it. That was my stint.
We gotta bring you back to wrestling.
Yeah,
Back to wrestling.
AEW.
That was it.
Talk to Nick Nemeth. He's here.
I was talking to Nick Nemeth about it, but he doesn't wrestle anymore either.
Yes, he does.
He said he retired.
No, he does. What does he say?
Oh my God.
No, he has a show. He wrestles like all the time, and he just told me he has a wrestling show coming up in Los Angeles. I don't know. Wait, something.
Welcome to the Nick Nemeth panel. What? That fool told me, he's like, I retired because I lost my belt and blah. And I was like, oh, how sad.
No, but they have a show that they do. He does it with his brother.
He's
know
not
this.
with WWE anymore.
Yeah, he's with some. They're with another outfit, right?
TNA
Yeah, I don't know what that one's
Isn't
called.
it TNA?
Get Nick in here.
I know, Nick.
He would come in here in an instant.
He would.
He has a Scream Queen shirt on today, I think. Something
Yeah?
like that.
Oh.
Yeah.
Do we have any questions?
We'll take
We had
one.
time.
Just jump in.
This is for Tiffany. What's your favorite role you've ever done besides Abominable?
Abominable is everyone's favorite. Naked yoga. Wasn't really yoga. Got broken in half by a Bigfoot. Which Joe Bob should cover that movie. Darcy.
Oh, there's a lot. Trust, I've been trying to get you on. Like there's, what was it? Billy Kid versus Dracula? Is that his name?
Bonnie and Clyde versus
Bonnie and Clyde,
Dracula.
that's what it was.
That's a
Yeah,
fun movie.
we watched that in Bonnie and Clyde's, like the room they had at the hotel, because we thought we were gonna be filming some stuff on
No
location
way.
and do that, and then they vetoed it. But whatever. But we're working on it.
Work on it. My favorite, I really liked the Frankenstein Syndrome, and not because I ended up marrying the director of it, but I actually got a chance to do something really kind of neat. Like some of you that know me know I really am obsessed with medical stuff, and I know a lot about medical things and medical terminology, and so I got to play a molecular biologist who invents a serum that, of course, regenerates dead tissue into living tissue, aka bring the dead back to life. And
Sounds like
all bad news.
Re-Animator. Sounds like Re-Animator.
Sounds a lot like Re-Animator. I channeled my Barbara Crampton. But it was really neat. It was a lot of fun, and I liked playing that part. I also liked playing possessed and the violent kind, because who doesn't like possessed biker chicks? And I don't know. What's your favorite?
What, of yours?
No.
Talk about you. You did the job.
What is your favorite movie you made? Your favorite part?
Oh, that I
Your
made.
favorite part?
I like Mary Lou a lot, and I never planned to do more horror movies. I got a few more, but I like the character. I like anything that's well written. Really, it's well written. You go with it, and that's what I think why it holds on. Like, you think, why did something last? Why didn't we forget about that? I think it's all in the writing. It has to start with the writing. It has to start with a good script.
Yeah.
If it's a good script, it's gonna last.
And you look so cool.
And I look good.
She looks so cool.
But I think it's about that. It's about a good script and honoring that good script, good material. I think it lasts, like anything good, it lasts forever. Anyway, that's
Mrs. Crampton?
My two favorite roles I've ever had are Catherine McMichaels in From Beyond and Ann Feder in Jacob's Wife. So do that homework and watch that movie, Jacob's Wife. Yeah.
You have a lot of movies to watch now, guys. Darcy, you do a lot of
see that
movies
one.
now.
I mostly just pop in for like cameo kills. I don't really consider myself an actress, but radio receptionist and Halloween Ends. Like, how do you beat that?
Slasher
Can I
size.
help you? Slasher size that was actually fun. Yeah.
Okay, I need to get them to their photo op, so let's give them one big round of applause.